Hello, Robs. We're back with Frank Leslie's Christmas book, 1889 to 90. We continue with the saga of Bonny's fortunes. Chapter 11. In time, Bonny was no longer puny and pale. He had grown a good bit and filled out too. The roses had begun to bloom in his cheeks, and he no longer wore the stupid stare, and the dull, dogged expression was rarely ever seen. Except when he had an occasional fit of naughtiness, he looked bright and happy. He was, as they thought, 9 years old when one of the royal princes was to be married, and a grand concert was to be given in honor of the event. Of course, Herr Bruder was to play. That was settled long before. Just a week before the great concert, the professor had promised to go and play for some blind people. He always said that he loved playing to the blind, for they listened, and their faces showed so plainly what pleasure they felt. When the day came, the professor was ill, but he would not disappoint his blind people, and when he left the railroad station on his way home, his carriage was not there. His coachman, supposing that he had stayed in Berlin, had driven off. Herr Bruder walked home in the rain, and the next day was dangerously ill. The manager came from Berlin one morning while the doctor was still there. Bonny and Lise were practicing together. The gentleman stood still in astonishment. When they had finished, the visitor said to Bonny, "How old are you, my little fellow?" "I am 9, Bonny replied. "Surely you look no more, and you play like that? Is it just one piece that you have learned by heart, or have you others?" Both the children laughed at so absurd a question. "We play many things with my uncle," Lise replied modestly, "and also in some quartets when other gentlemen join us. My cousin Johann plays also many things by himself." The manager proceeded to the sick man's room to persuade him to make the attempt to play at the great concert. Bonny determined that he and Lise should offer to play instead of Herr Bruder. He went up to the professor's room. "Herr Papa, tell him you won't come," he exclaimed entreatingly. "The doctor said you mustn't. He did tell me you really couldn't." Herr Bruder smiled and laid his hand on Bonny's head. "Little one," he said, "perhaps Herr Papa will be well again by then. But the play would make you ill again. Herr Papa, I want to say something to you. He said I played beautifully. Let Lise and me go and play instead of you, and the people will say they are only little children, and will be kind to listen to us when they know you are too ill." The manager caught at the idea. "My friend," he said to Herr Bruder, "if it were possible to spare you, I would gladly do it. I think well of your little son's idea. To me, he plays remarkably well for such a child. Let him come to the grand rehearsal tomorrow, and he shall play. If he does well, I will take him as your substitute." "Herr Papa, I will go," Bonny said emphatically. "Tell him yes." With feelings of pride and satisfaction, Bonny saw the manager depart. And that's it. I thought there was more. And that's the end of that. All right. The trial is next. What's that called? The Great Event? A great event. All right, that's all, bros. Goodbye.